It happened quietly. No announcement, no warning, no PR spin. Just one unexpected move from Khloé Kardashian that sent shockwaves through the family, left Scott Disick completely speechless, and had fans convinced that she's finally done playing the middle ground. For years, Khloé has been known as the peacekeeper, the one who forgives, defends, and protects everyone around her, no matter how much it costs her emotionally. But this time, she made a decision that no one saw coming, a move that said louder than words. "I'm done carrying everyone else's pain." The tension between Khloé and Scott had been simmering for months. After the last round of drama, the late-night dinner photos, the online chaos, and Kourtney's quiet but unmistakable fury, the air between them was thick with unspoken guilt. Scott thought things had blown over, like they always do. But Khloé had been thinking. According to insiders, Khloé had reached her limit. "She's tired of being caught in the crossfire," said one close source. "No matter what she does, she ends up being the bad guy. And she's done living in that narrative." So instead of talking it out, Khloé acted. Fans noticed it first, subtle but unmistakable. Khloé had quietly unfollowed Scott Disick on Instagram. No announcement, no drama, just gone. At first, people thought it was an accident, until a few hours later, Khloé posted a story. Energy shifts when you stop trying to fix what isn't yours to fix. The internet exploded. Wait, did Khloé just unfollow Scott? Oh, she's done. Kourtney's influence is rubbing off, boundaries activated. Within minutes, screenshots started circulating across Reddit and X. And when fans checked again, they realized it wasn't one-sided. Scott had unfollowed her back. The silence between them said it all. Sources close to the family say Scott was blindsided. He didn't get a heads up, a message, or a clue. Just woke up one morning, saw his follower count drop, and realized Khloé had finally drawn her own line. He texted her something like, "Really? This is how we're doing it now?" a source revealed, but she didn't reply. That's when he knew it was serious. This wasn't a temporary social media stunt. It was Khloé's way of saying she's reclaiming her peace, and something Kourtney has been preaching for months. What makes this move so shocking isn't just that Khloé and Scott were close, it's that for over a decade they were inseparable. Siblings by choice, confidants in chaos. Khloé was there when Scott spiraled, when he lost his parents, when he broke down. She was the only one who never gave up on him. So for her to walk away now, that means something's changed, deeply. Khloé's realizing that being kind doesn't mean being available, an insider said. She loves Scott, but she's finally putting herself first, and that's new for her. And here's where it gets interesting, Kourtney Kardashian noticed. While she didn't post anything directly, she liked a quote that same afternoon. "When people start choosing peace, the right ones will understand." Fans immediately connected the dots. Kourtney liked that quote the same day Khloé unfollowed Scott. Oh, she's proud. "This is the most peaceful way the Kardashians have ever fought." It wasn't public war, it was quiet alignment. For the first time in years, the sisters weren't on opposite sides. They were standing on the same one. Peace over pity. Khloé's move might seem small, but in this family, silence speaks volumes. And the message was clear. She's done being Scott's savior. She's not the middleman anymore. She's finally choosing herself. And for a family that thrives on connection, that kind of independence is revolutionary. For years, Scott Disick thought that no matter what happened, Khloé Kardashian would always be there for him. Through every heartbreak, every scandal, every relapse, and every breakup, she was the one person who never gave up on him. She was his lifeline into the Kardashian world, the bridge that kept him connected even when Kourtney closed the door. So when he woke up one morning, checked his notifications, and realized Khloé had unfollowed him, it didn't just sting. It shook him. At first, Scott didn't believe it. He thought it was a glitch, a mistake, a PR tactic. But when he checked again, her name was gone. And within hours, the internet had already noticed. Scott saw the posts online before Khloé even replied to him, a close source revealed. That's how he found out it wasn't a misunderstanding, it was intentional. He immediately sent her a text. "Wow, really? No response?" Then another, "If this is about Kourtney again, you could have just said it." Still silence. And that's when it hit him. This wasn't about Kourtney. This was about him. For someone like Scott, silence is the one thing he can't handle. He thrives on attention, on reactions, on chaos. But Khloé's lack of response left him spiraling, alone with his thoughts. He's used to being forgiven, the insider said. Every time he messes up, someone, usually Khloé, helps him clean it up. But this time, no one came to save him. He tried to laugh it off in front of friends. At dinner, he reportedly joked, Guess I finally annoyed the last Kardashian standing. But underneath the sarcasm, everyone could see it, the sadness. Scott wasn't angry, he was hurt. Because no matter what he's done, Khloé was always the one who believed he could be better. And now she's gone. People close to Scott said the silence between them was deafening. No calls, no texts, no inside jokes. The bond that once felt unbreakable was suddenly gone. He spent days scrolling through old messages. The endless voice notes, the funny memes, the long late-night talks when everything else in his life was falling apart. It was like watching a part of himself fade away. He didn't realize how much he relied on her, a source admitted. She wasn't just his friend, she was his emotional anchor. Losing her feels like losing the last bit of family he had left. And the worst part, he knew deep down that it was his own fault. Meanwhile, Kourtney Kardashian had seen everything. The photos, the unfollow, the silence, but she didn't react, not publicly, not even privately. She didn't text Scott or Khloé, she just observed. And for Scott, that silence was even more painful because when Kourtney doesn't say anything, it usually means she's made up her mind. Scott realized he'd lost both sisters in one move, a friend revealed. Kourtney's silence wasn't passive, it was final. He used to think Khloé's loyalty was unconditional. Now he's learning that even unconditional love has limits. By the third day, Scott reportedly reached out to Kris Jenner, hoping she could mediate. He told her he wanted to fix things, that he missed Khloé's friendship, that it wasn't that deep. But Kris, always the realist, didn't sugarcoat it. Scott, it's not about one thing, it's about years of the same thing. You need to give her space. It was the one thing Scott didn't want to hear. Because space means absence, as in absence means irrelevance. For someone who built his identity around being part of the Kardashian family, that realization hit like a brick wall. Scott's been seen less since the fallout. No new photos, no appearances at family events, and no mentions on Khloé's page. It's as if the Kardashian universe has finally begun to move without him. He doesn't know what to do without her, the insider said. He's realizing how much of his life revolved around being Uncle Scott, and now that title might not belong to him anymore. And while he's trying to play it cool, everyone close to him says the same thing. This time, Scott Disick isn't laughing it off. When the news broke that Khloé Kardashian had unfollowed Scott Disick, the Kardashian family chat exploded. Everyone had questions, theories, and one shared fear: that the fragile peace between Khloé, Scott, and Kourtney was about to collapse all over again. And for a family that thrives on control, unpredictability is the worst possible headline. The first person to act, as always, was Kris Jenner. She didn't even finish her morning coffee before calling Khloé. "Honey, what's going on? Do I need to call Scott?" But Khloé's response was calm, steady, and unbothered. "Mom, I'm fine. I just needed to set a boundary. It's not drama, it's peace." That word, peace, made Kris nervous because in Kardashian world, peace often means we're not filming that. Kris knows when one of her daughters detaches emotionally, the cameras lose oxygen, said a source close to production. She wanted to get ahead of the story before the media turned it into another family feud. Within an hour, Kris was on the phone with Scott. Damage control mode activated. When Kris called, Scott didn't even pretend to be fine. He sounded defeated, drained, and angry all at once. "I don't even know what I did this time, Kris," he said. "One day we're laughing, the next I'm cut off. She could have at least talked to me first." Kris took a deep breath, the kind of sigh that only years of managing family chaos could produce. "Scott, she's not trying to punish you. She's protecting her peace. You know she's been stretched thin for years." But Scott wasn't ready to hear it. "I've been there for them through everything. I lose Kourtney, I lose Khloé. What's next? Kim blocks me too." Kris paused. For the first time, she didn't have a scripted answer, because deep down she knew he wasn't wrong. While Kris handled the PR fallout, Kim Kardashian slipped quietly into the role of family mediator. She texted both sides, short, neutral messages that sounded calm but carried weight. To Khloé, "Proud of you for setting boundaries. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty." To Scott, "I think Khloé just needs space. Don't overthink it, give her time." Kim's always been the family's rational voice, detached, measured, and strategic. But even she admitted privately that the situation felt different this time. "Khloé doesn't cut people off easily," she told her assistant. "When she does, it's because she's finally done explaining herself." Meanwhile, Kourtney Kardashian stayed silent, but observant. While everyone else panicked, she was calm, too calm. Kourtney didn't say a word, an insider revealed. She just listened to what everyone else said, Kris, Kim, even Travis, and then said, "It's about time." Those 3 words summed it all up. Kourtney had been waiting for this moment, for Khloé to finally realize that boundaries aren't cruelty, they're self-respect. For years, she'd watched her sister carry Scott's emotions like they were her own. Now Khloé was finally putting them down, and in Kourtney's eyes, that wasn't betrayal, it was growth. The next few days in the Kardashian family group chat were tense but telling. Kris tried to keep things light, sending heart emojis, inside jokes, and positive affirmations. Kim stayed silent. Kourtney only replied with one message: "I love peace more than history." That hit hard because everyone knew what she meant. The family's history with Scott was long, messy, and painful. And maybe, just maybe, it was finally time to stop trying to fix what's been broken for too long. Behind the scenes, Kris's media team scrambled to get ahead of the story. They sent out subtle press tips to gossip sites, framing Khloé's move as a healthy step towards self-care and boundaries. They avoided mentioning Scott by name in official statements, focusing instead on Khloé's new era of emotional wellness. "The Kardashians don't bury stories, and they redirect them," said one Hollywood publicist. Kris is already planning how this will fit into the next season's storyline. But the problem was, the drama wasn't scripted. This was real emotion, and no matter how many edits, captions, or interviews they crafted, fans could tell the difference. The family could pretend everything was fine for now, but in private, everyone knew the truth. This wasn't just about a social media unfollow. It was about years of blurred lines, emotional dependency, and the moment Khloé Kardashian finally decided to let go. And for Scott Disick, that meant facing something scarier than scandal, a life where he's no longer needed. For days, the Kardashian world buzzed with tension, silence between Khloé and Scott, whispers from Kris, and speculation from every gossip outlet online. But while everyone else tried to manage the narrative, Kourtney Kardashian did something no one expected. She stepped in, not with a dramatic confrontation, not with cameras rolling, not for attention, but with something far quieter, far stronger. Peace. Kourtney had been here before. She'd seen this exact pattern play out. Scott's guilt, Khloé's exhaustion, Kris's panic. But this time she wasn't part of the chaos. She was watching it, and she understood something the rest didn't. Khloé's decision wasn't cruelty, or it was transformation. Kourtney finally sees that her sister is learning the lesson she learned years ago, a close friend revealed. You can love someone and still choose yourself. For years, Khloé had been the emotional caretaker for Scott, for Tristan, for everyone. But in doing so, she'd forgotten the one person she couldn't save, herself. Kourtney knew that pain well. It's the same lesson she learned after a decade with Scott. So when she decided to reach out, it wasn't to undo Khloé's choice. It was to honor it. Late one night, after putting the kids to bed, Kourtney finally texted Scott, simple, short, no emotions, just clarity. "Hey, I know things are weird right now, just breathe. Let Khloé have her space. You'll be okay." Scott didn't respond right away. When he did, it was a rare moment of honesty. "You really think she'll forgive me?" Kourtney took a moment before replying. "It's not about forgiveness this time, Scott. It's about respect. No emojis, no nostalgia, just truth." And for the first time, he didn't argue. A few days later, Kourtney stopped by Khloé's house. It wasn't a big production, no glam, no cameras, just 2 sisters sitting on the couch, drinking tea, letting the tension dissolve. At first, they didn't talk about Scott. They talked about motherhood, about healing, about how exhausting it is to constantly be the strong one. Then Kourtney finally said it. "You did the right thing." Khloé looked up, surprised, maybe even emotional. "Really? You're not mad I hurt him?" Kourtney shook her head. "No, I'm proud. You finally stopped fixing what broke you." Those words hit Khloé hard because for years she'd felt responsible for Scott's pain, for Kourtney's boundaries, for the family's image. But hearing her sister say that felt like permission to finally let go. That moment was healing, a friend close to the family said. For once, Kourtney and Khloé weren't divided by Scott. They were united by growth. Later that week, Kourtney posted a quote to her Instagram story. Not directed at anyone, but clear enough for those who needed to see it. Peace isn't pretending everything's fine. It's choosing who you'll keep in your quiet. It was subtle, but fans instantly connected the dots. Kourtney wasn't calling anyone out, she was drawing a line. One that said, no more emotional chaos, no more blurred loyalty, no more guilt for choosing yourself. Even Travis Barker, her husband, reportedly told friends how proud he was of her. She's leading her family by example now, he said, not by control, but by peace. Meanwhile, Scott sat alone in his Calabasas home, scrolling through the same story everyone else saw. He didn't comment, he didn't text her again, but those words hit harder than anything else. He knew she was right. He'd relied on the Kardashians for years, their love, their energy, their forgiveness. But now for the first time, they were asking him to stand on his own. Scott's realizing that if he doesn't change, he'll lose them for good, an insider said. Kourtney's silence isn't punishment, it's an invitation to grow up. Within a week, the storm began to fade. Khloé stayed quiet. Kourtney stopped liking cryptic quotes, Scott disappeared from social media, and for the first time in months, there was no shouting, no shade, no spectacle, just quiet. It wasn't reconciliation, it was evolution. Each of them finally stepping out of the triangle they'd been trapped in for years. Kourtney didn't fix anything, and she didn't need to. She simply reminded everyone, including herself, that peace isn't given, it's chosen. And just like that, the noise faded, replaced by something none of them had felt in a long time. Quiet clarity. Because sometimes the biggest transformation doesn't come from confrontation, it comes from silence, distance, and the courage to finally stop explaining yourself. For Khloé Kardashian, this chapter was never about punishing anyone. It was about releasing what no longer felt right. For years, she was everyone's emotional lifeline, the loyal sister, the therapist, the forgiver. But now, she's the woman who learned that peace isn't selfish, it's survival. By unfollowing Scott, she didn't end a friendship, she ended a cycle of emotional dependency, confusion, and guilt disguised as love, and that quiet decision sent a louder message than any dramatic feud ever could. Sometimes, Khloé once said in an old interview, you have to love people from a distance. That's still love. Now she's finally living that truth. Meanwhile, Scott Disick is left to confront something even deeper than loss, himself. For years, the Kardashians were his safety net, his family, his identity. He's been loved, forgiven, and accepted more times than most people ever are. But now, for the first time, he's being asked to stand alone. No one's rescuing him, no one's defending him, and maybe that's exactly what he needs, because healing doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you're finally uncomfortable enough to change. And for Scott, this silence might be the start of something he's avoided for years. Real growth. And then there's Kourtney Kardashian, the sister who once carried this pain herself, the one who used to cry over Scott, beg for change, and sacrifice her peace for the illusion of family harmony. Now, she's evolved beyond all that. She doesn't fight the chaos anymore, she rises above it, and by doing that, she's become the quiet teacher of the family. She didn't lecture Khloé, she didn't shame Scott, she just showed through action that love without boundaries is self-destruction, and that sometimes protecting your energy isn't coldness. It's clarity. For years, the Kardashian storylines were about love, betrayal, and public feuds, but this time something feels different. This isn't about spectacle, it's about evolution. Khloé is learning to detach without anger. Scott is learning to reflect without distraction, and Kourtney is learning to lead without control. It's not the flashy kind of drama, it's the quiet kind that lasts. It's the kind that changes people, and maybe that's the message behind all of this. You can love people deeply and still let them go. You can care without carrying. You can forgive without reattaching. Because peace isn't about avoiding chaos, it's about not letting chaos live in you anymore. So what do you think, Hush Hush fam? Did Khloé make the right move by finally stepping back from Scott? Do you think Scott deserves another chance to prove himself? Oh, or is Kourtney right that sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away? Let's talk about it in the comments. I want to hear your take on how this emotional triangle is evolving. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new deep dive into Hollywood's most complicated hearts. Because here on Hush Hush Fame, we don't just talk gossip, we uncover the truth that fame tries to hide. Until next time, stay curious, stay real, and remember, even in fame, peace is the ultimate power. This is Hush Hush Fame.